So the lesson we're going to do today may seem a little intimidating, and it's why I love it. Because regardless of what your experience level is, if you follow my steps along with me as we draw this flower, um, you're going to be surprised both at the process of drawing and at what you can do. So I like to think of these drawing lessons kind of as the grammar of drawing. So we all know, right? Like our languages, George knows many. You two, probably a lot of you know more than one, but at least we know our one. But if we were to try and we know how things sound correct, but correct, that actually didn't sound correct. We know how things sound when they sound correct, but we often don't know the rules about why. So my job always is going to be to teach you the why. Why is this the way it is? Because that will help you kind of understand the process better. So all we'll really need today is a pencil, some paper, and I'm going to pop this screen up. I have sent this, and what we're going to start with, does anybody have questions before we go? All right, let's get going. So, we're going to start by doing a walkthrough of drawing this flower, just this flower. And then you guys are going to get to go on to finish if you want to, or just kind of keep going. There's a really important process that's going on here, important enough that I'm actually kind of covering up the bottom part of this drawing so it doesn't distract you, and we're focused on the flower. Last week, we talked about the five elements of shape. Does anybody remember what those are? What are the five elements of shape? The shape families that can make up everything in drawing. Anybody remember? I can remind you if you don't.
Curved, curved line shapes.
Right. Curved
Circle,
lines.
Angle,
Dots. Yes, circles.
circles.
Dots.
angle lines,
Angle lines. Exactly. And
straight lines.
straight lines. Thank you. All right. So these are families of shape, which, if you remember, means that a curved line can look like this. It can look like this. It can even be curly like a snail shell. Circles are anything roundish with no sharp edges. So both of these would be considered a circle. So would this. So would this egg-shaped circle. Big, small, right? So a circle is not just this perfectly round thing. And dots are just like circles, roundish with no sharp edges, but they're filled in. Angle lines are literally just two straight lines put together, wide, 90-degree, right, narrow, wide. And straight lines are just straight lines. They can be thick, they can be thin, they can be small, they can be big. So with these things, all this drawing is made up of those shapes. So when we start, we're going to actually start. Oh, you know what? And I'm going to sketch this around because it's a little hard. This is a long copy. Can you all see the outer shape of this flower a little bit better now? Yeah, excellent. Okay, so we're actually going to start with what's in front. And in this particular case, what's in front are these little stamen things, the little polleny pieces. So you're going to start finding the center of your flower, which is just simply a dot like this. Actually, you know what? Give me one sec. Paper. A dot like that. And then I don't know if you can see these, but these, I'm going to sketch them in so you can really see them. These are just little kidney bean, sort of like kidney bean shaped dots. So the next step after I draw this is to try and kind of locate these 6 dots in relation to the center. I know they're kind of up this way to the left. So here's that one. I'm also actually putting my hand kind of on what I'm drawing. The hand that isn't drawing kind of helps me stay. Okay, so then there's one last one. So you're going to start with that. And when you think you've got it, go ahead and send it across the thread. Got it. Yeah, send it across the thread. Let's take a look. The thread like just helps me see quickly, are we on the right path? Or do we need any? And you should not feel like you have to do that in Sharpie. Great, Sierra. Perfect, George. Nice work. Good work, everybody. Not so hard, right? So far. I'll just wait to see everybody else's, and then we'll go to the next step. The other thing about the thread is that it kind of serves as a way of having us feel like we're in the same room, even though we are not. So we can kind of see what everybody's doing. And I promise I get less controlling as this goes on. So you get a lot more freedom in the end, to kind of run this. I will, for the people who are ready, show the next step. I'm sketching it in here so you can really see it. This is really just a set of kind of curvy lines that lead from the center to except for this one, right, which leads from this curvy line. Let's take a look. Looks good, Sarah. Are you using graphite or just a thick pencil?
Just a pencil.
Just a thick pencil. Nice. Okay. It has a nice dark quality. Sometimes don't get. All right, everybody ready on this one? Oh, wait, did I miss? Okay, here we are. Sorry. Sorry, Courtney, I keep trying to move back up to yours. Where is it? I keep losing it. Sarah. Have I seen yours yet, Courtney? Oh, I see it. It's up there. So Courtney, one of the things I'm going to have you notice is that do you mind if I pop up your uh, piece just to show you on the screen? Is that okay?
Go for it.
Totally not trying to call anybody out here, but this is a very common thing that happens. So let me pop this up and I'll show you. All right. It's easy. So these things look great, except they could be a little bit thicker, right? A little bit more dotty, so make them a little bit thicker. Notice how close your center line is to this. See how it's almost right on top? So this is a really common mistake that happens. We either make things too small or too big. So the very, very simple solution is to erase this and pull it down to about here. Can you do that? Where my arrow is? And the reason that this happens is that we tend to make things, as we focus on things, we tend to make them either too big or too small. Learning this space is a really, learning the two-dimensional space is a strange thing. It is not ever what you think. Courtney, thank you. You're a sport. A sport. All right. So the next step is to sketch in these lines. And once again, I'm going to put my hand here so I can see them really well. This one goes from the center to here. This one comes from here down to there, like a Y. Doesn't go all the way to the center. The rest of them go to the center and kind of, let's see, this one goes like this. This goes like, yep, that. And then this one kind of weaves in like that. It has a weird kind of shaky look to it, but not too bad. And by the way, Courtney, if it makes you feel better, I think mine's a little bit close too. See how like
Oh, I don't feel bad at all.
yeah. I'm
But you
just
wanted
saying,
me
look,
to move the original dot, right?
I did
Okay.
down, wanted you to come diagonally this way so that this
That's-
kind of rises up. But what I
Okay.
really wanted to show you is, you guys also, is that I make a lot of mistakes as well. Mistake making is part of the process. And I have taught this lesson probably 1,000 times in 10 different countries. And I sometimes, just depending on my zone where I'm at, can make. So I brought this a little close myself. I think it'll work just fine. Why did we not draw the lines first? We didn't draw the lines first, exactly for why I had Courtney move her dot back down. It's very easy if we draw the lines to make them go too far. So it helps to have a kind of boundary. In reality, we've got this shape here that's a little bit like a diamond. Can you see that here on this? And so we like to kind of find the outer boundaries of our shapes so that we don't go too far. So it helps to find the dots first and then bring the lines rather than to do the lines first. Once we know the dots are in the right place, it makes it easier. When you think you've got it, send it over. Let's see. Nice, you guys. Let's see. Good, Sierra. Wait, let me go up. Okay, so George, I'm trying to see. That's okay. That works. I mean, technically, there's kind of a little, this goes straight down and these kind of wind over on this side. Can you see that? There's a little tiny space. I mean, I'm just being anal, but that looks pretty good to me. I'll take it. Sarah, nice. Okay, this is looking great, Sarah. I'm going to suggest that in your next set of lines, not to go quite so dark and heavy. It's perfect for this because this is a very dark part of the drawing, but you may want to erase as we go. So try a little bit lighter on on the next steps here. This looks awesome, you guys. Okay, so now we have, I think I've looked at everybody's. Yes. So now we have this shape. We're going to start by drawing the out. This helps us kind of place everything else. So now we're going to start petal by petal, drawing the outside shape here. We're not going to be doing any inside lines, and we're going to do them one petal at a time. So the first petal, I'm going to sketch it out here so you can really see it. Really almost It's kind of like a little house. And notice it stops and ends. It kind of goes up here and over these two on the right. I'll use this guy. You see, it's like a straight line up. I'm putting a straight line on this side and then two straight lines, or an angle line and two straight lines, however we'd like to define it. So this is, we do not go in to the center. If you see in this drawing, there actually isn't a line that goes in from the center. I'm going to assume you guys got this. We will do the second one. So before we get to the second petal, one of the things that's really key in drawing is something called negative space. Does anybody know what that is? What's negative space? You ever heard that term? Negative space is a really key aspect of drawing. When you're just looking at something, you're not thinking about the space that is not the object. But when you're drawing something, the negative space shape has to be the same, right? Is as important as the shape of the subject itself. And it sometimes helps. So when I look at this petal, I'm like, how do I know how far out to go? I'm actually going to start, I'm going to do this in pencil, with putting a dot right here. Once again, like putting my dots here, I'm going to put a dot here. I'm going to notice that if I run straight across, this dot is like a little bit higher than here. So I'm going to go over here, give myself a little dot, and then I'm going to sketch in that triangle to help shape this petal and get it in the right place. I will also warn, this is a tiny bit tedious, but so worth it in the end. And not really intuitive, right? Like not really how you would think about it. I'm not going to take a look at your petal until we get all the way through. So we'll have you do the negative space and then the petal, and then I'll take a look again to see how it's going. Is this feeling like, does it make sense to you guys? Yeah, logical? Okay, great. So when we draw the petal now, we're also going to find the outside points. And one of the easy outside points to find is the one at the bottom of this petal. You can see it's just lined up exactly with the center and directly to the right. So I know that this petal ends here. And I know that this petal, I'm going to say, comes out a little bit at an angle here, right? It's above the center. It's a little like connecting the dots in a weird way. You're kind of creating your own dots. So now I can sketch the outside shape and notice kind of, you can make these curves or you can kind of turn them into angles that you can soften later. So once we've got that, I'd love to see, I'd love you guys to show me this, send this across. So essentially what we're doing is, and this is the real logic of visual spatial thinking, which is that everything is in relation to everything else. So when you've created a part of a drawing, in this case, the front here, when you've created that front part of that drawing, everything kind of works in relation to that, where you put that. Let's see. Excellent. Looks great, George. Looks great. I think there's, let's see, hold on. One, two. Nope, you got it. Looks great to me. Let's see. Ciara, this is a little, notice that you brought your spikes down below. I'm going to show Sarah, great. And hold on. Courtney, not bad. I'm going to say you and Sarah both notice that you brought your spikes down. I'm going to do it here so you can see kind of lower than this a little. I'm exaggerating a little bit just to show you, right? So the spikes became, so you, everything here, and if you need to, give yourself more points. This goes to here, this goes to here. None of these come down below this. Why is this important? Because little tiny millimeters of difference make a difference in how you draw things. So interesting. Isn't that interesting? It's so interesting. Yeah, so Sierra, I want you to, and in fact, what kind of happened, can I pop this up here? Sierra, do you mind? I'm going to assume you guys don't mind unless you're like, please don't do this. Text me and tell me not to do it. But it's so helpful to show. Here, hold on. Where are you? Just to show what I mean, just to point it out. So this often happens in drawing. It's like this actually goes up this way. Isn't that crazy? We flip things in our head when we're starting to adjust to visual spatial. This is a very common mistake to make, is to kind of flip the direction that things go. So this needs to come up like that. And by the way, you guys are killing it, doing great. Okay, we have another negative space shape. Here is our point. Here is our line. Just to show you, this is if I go straight down, right? From here to here. If I go straight down, that's that pointed line. I need to go a little bit to the left. So I'm going to pencil. I'm going to do this first. Actually, I think it'll be easier. All right, that's straight down. And then I'm maybe a little bit more. And then I'm literally going to go to the left, put my point here. See how I did that? And then I'm going to draw my negative space like that. Oh, and like that. That's the other shape. See that? And I might have made that a little bit too, I made that go down too far. So I'm narrowing it and pulling this out a little bit. This one might be the hardest one, so don't worry if you struggle with it a little bit. Obviously, I just did. And if you've got it, send it over. Let's see. Oh, great. When you got it. I think it looks like half a continent, maybe Africa. I don't know. Perfect, Courtney. Absolutely perfect. Beautiful. I like that your little dip is not that right pronounced. It's very subtle. And look at how much we see it. Isn't that interesting? Little tiny dip makes a big difference. Sierra, excellent. You may want to bring your dot up just a little bit, Sierra. And Sarah, that looks pretty good. You may want to adjust and let, not bad, guys. These are great. So, okay, so I'm going to have Jorge bring his, let me just pop them all up for a second and I'll show you. Two little fixes, but nothing much. Okay, so Jorge, if you notice, your pedal looks a little short. So there are two things going on. I think you need to bring your dot down a little bit to about here. But also look at how much space this dip is taking up. Very common problem is to make things too big. So make your dip smaller so that the thing seems longer. See that? That's so common. And then Sierra, wait, hold on. There's one teeny, and then Sierra, I thought maybe you'd done yours a little too long. I'm so picky. Yes, so you did great, but I would bring yours up to about here. Just end it there. So just, oh, shit, come here. Dang it. End your dot. Dang it. This is why I always label these not for children. I'm swearing halfway through. Just bring your ending of your pedal here and erase this line down here, and you'll be ready to go.
I'm really embarrassed to say I can't find my eraser.
You came across without an eraser?
I can't find it. It's gone missing since last week.
You're kidding. Do you have any yellow pencil around? Do your kids have one?
I've got a blending.
Just use that. Blending is not it. So you don't have any yellow pencils around the house?
I'll go in a second. I'll go and just have a look upstairs to see if I can find an old.
Yeah, there's got to be something. Grab anything that is an eraser. Okay. Great. But go ahead and just mark it somehow with your pencil, the dot, and then you can do the erasing later. Okay. Excellent job, by the way, you guys. This was excellent. You got the hardest part of this in my mind. Okay, so now we're going to draw the pedal. Here is the end of this pedal from here to here. And if you'll notice, this also is a helpful marker because this end of this pedal really lines up with the center, but going down. So I'm going to go right to about here. Do you see how much easier it is to add your points? Like beforehand, your endpoints, instead of just guessing, it helps. And then I like to make this more of a straight line. You can easily later add these little bumps in, but for the moment, these are quite subtle. So I tend to keep this straight. You want to just make sure this pedal is thick enough. So make sure when you draw your line in that it doesn't end up looking, let's see, like this. We don't want that shape. Oh, sorry, that shape, right? It's really kind of, so make sure this is lined up, there is lined up. So start by lining up your dot here. Then we have our dot going here. And going here. Okay, so when I look at where to put this dot, I start by lining my pencil up with the dot I've placed at the bottom of my pedal here. Can you see that? See how I've done that? Sometimes the pencil blocks it, but here's my dot. Here is where I line up. If I line up and go straight across, what do I see? This dot comes down just a tiny bit further than this one. So when I come here, I'm once again, I'm going to go over and then down to make my dot. And then I should be able to get that line in. This is a little bit tricky. It's got pieces. The first line is a straight line that goes straight horizontally to the left. then down, straight line down, then diagonal line over to the left, and then straight line to here. If you want to give yourself the points for this, you're welcome to. Go here. Hi, Christina. We're just working on this lesson. So as soon as we're through, I'll be happy to look at whatever you're working on.
Oh, it's fine. I'm getting up and sort of waking up and looking at my drawing and be like, okay, where do I want to start?
Yeah. Send it across, and when I have a chance, I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
I just want to make sure these guys are through this process.
Oh,
Guys,
yeah.
me, Christina, she is with the LA Press Club in LA. Currently works as at the Huntington Museum as an editor, art museum. If you have questions as you're going through this process, please ask me. Do not feel like any question is stupid. Any question is not worth asking. If this doesn't make sense or it feels confusing, my job here is to walk you through it and then help you get over that. Since some of you don't know this about me, my history as an artist, I've been an artist 25 years, but before that, I was a journalist for 10. And I did not know how to draw when I decided to become an artist at the age of 32, and spent 5 very painful years starting to, well, really honestly, you could say there's a little pain all the way through in art when you're pushing yourself. Spent 5 years, going from being a pretty successful journalist to being a very unsuccessful drawer in beginning drawing classes and painting. So, these lessons have developed from learning as an adult, learning what I was taught and what I wasn't taught. Um, Sometimes, if you've done art your whole life, or anything your whole life, it's really hard to explain why you do what you do. Right? So my whole job in this, there are some books and some teachers that do a good job of that, but in general, it's hard to wrap your mind around. So all of this is developed from that experience of not knowing how to do this. When you think you've got it, send it over. Oh, I see somebody probably has. Let's see. Yes. So this line, I think you need to bring, so number one, okay, so there's 2 things right here happening. I'm going to point them out because it's pretty easy to fix. One is this is lined up exactly, and it should be below, right? Number 2 is this should probably be thinned out just a little bit. And you should perhaps bring your dot down. Well, yeah, no, don't do that. Keep it here. Thin this out a little bit here and bring this down to here. Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Little tiny things, right? It's amazing. It's like a millimeter. What should be a big difference? It makes a big difference. That's one of the weird things to wrap your head around. Courtney, beautiful. Beautiful. I feel like your flower already looks like an elegant dancer. I love it. Sierra, that looks pretty good. Although, hang on a second, I'm missing something. Oh, I see, because wait, shoot, sorry, I did it again. Let me look at yours again.
I tried to crop out the bit that I'm gonna erase.
So this is your dot. This is still lined up. Do you see this is almost exactly lined up? Oh, wait, hold on. I'm not sharing. Let me do this again. I'll show you. I think this is a natural thing to do because you can't erase. Here, hold on. Here. You're getting a little confused, right, with what's what. So this, if you go straight over, that's your end dot. This dot should be down, right? It shouldn't be lined up here. It should be lower. There we go. And that should help. One of the things that's really tricky, Sarah, did I look? And yes, I looked at everybody else's. Okay. One of the things that's really sort of tedious about this part of the process is all the measuring, checking, remeasuring, checking. But what you'll find is we're not going to get an exactly perfect thing, but we're going to get something that's easy to correct later on because things are basically in the right places. All right, we've got 2 pedals to go, gang, and then it gets a lot easier. Here is your last pedal. So you can see here, there's a dot here, and that dot is like to the left and a little bit below. It's not lined up like the other 2 were. It's a little bit below where the center is. So I'm going to go across and down to add my dot. And then it's just really simply like that. This next one is always the hardest one to get right. So I'm going to put 2 dots in here. There's that negative. So here's our next negative space. So once again, if I come over here, yeah, do you see how this one looks just like kind of like putting his little toe into like on point or something, tiptoeing or something like that. So the next step here, if I look here and I see where to put this dot in relation, I see a couple of things. One, I see it's a little bit below here. So I come a little bit below here. And then I go out to about there to get my dot. And then this part, I can erase this line afterwards so that it doesn't confuse me. And then this part is up, straight line up, straight line down. When you think you've got it, send it over. Oh, Christina, you're masochist. However, having fun with perspective, I can
Oh
see.
gosh. Yeah, this is not my favorite assignment. And I
Don't scare the other students, Christina.
No, I want to be drawing
Are
what I want to be drawing what you're drawing today. It just looks so much nicer.
It is nice, although it's got its own struggling.
Yeah, but just oh to draw a
Beautiful,
flower.
Courtney.
Oh to draw a flower.
Beautiful, Courtney. Beautiful, Sarah. Sarah, I think you're going to want to Okay, Jorge, that looks pretty. Okay, so Courtney, you got it. There's a couple of adjustments in the shape for Sarah and for Jorge. Let me show you. George, sorry, let me show you really quickly. Um, no, wait, that's not what I wanted. Yes, here. Okay, so Sarah, you're gonna see that if you compare like your dot, I think so. I think this needs to come, this dot needs to come up just a titch to here. Can you see that, Sarah, where I'm pointing? Right here, where so you have it here. Move this dot up here. And then that means this dot is also going to come up a little bit. What I can already see is that this shape is a little bit scrunched and a little bit moving down. Look at the shape here. So this is, right, this is the negative space shape, and yours looks a little bit, I'm here. I'm gonna actually draw it here. And George, you have the same issue going on, slightly different one. So this is the actual negative space shape, and yours is going a little bit, it's kind of leaning. Damn, now I have to look at it here. Hang on. Yours is going like this in comparison. Do you see that? Do you see the difference between this shape and this shape? Yours is a little scrunched and going down. So really what you would like to do is bring this up, Sarah, and then bring this up so that you can get more that shape. So this is your original shape, and this is the shape that we would want. I can tell because I can tell this is just down a little bit too low. Easy to do. Super easy to do. Yeah, and George, I would say your shape looks a little bit like this. Your yours looks like, I'll just do it over here. It's too skinny here, right? That's why negative space is so important. Your space, your shape should be, actually should probably come up more like this. See, to get that actual shape, because this area is too narrow. You'll get way better. What happens here is we get way better. Sierra, that looks almost perfect. I would just, you know what? Actually, just keep it the way it is. I like it. It'll work. It'll work.
That's good news.
Um,
The eraser I found
yeah.
is so rubbish. I can't make any more mistakes.
Never come to a gunfight without a gun.
Right? I even got a knife. I'm like,
It's so funny. You're not there, but that I just want you to know that that's happened more than once. People say, "Oh, I need an eraser." I've actually had people say, "Oh, I need an eraser," which makes me laugh because consistently, as you can see, even in this flower as I'm drawing, I'm making mistakes as I'm going along. So mistake making is actually part of laying stuff down. All right, great job. All right, guys, we're almost there. Last sketch. So this dot lines up with this dot, which kind of comes somewhere between these two, maybe a little bit above. And then it just goes right up there and kind of the edge kind of disappears. So it just goes up like that and down, and then that's it. That is the outer shape of your flower. So go ahead and try it. It's about as satisfying as looking at a squash starfish, which is why people don't draw this way. It's very unsatisfying to the eye. So this is another lesson in showing you, how do I put it? What is like what feels right and but is wrong, and what feels wrong but is right. So one of the things we like to say about drawing is that drawing has to meet this kind of awkward stage before we get to the actual. And so it always looks awkward to start with the bigger shapes. The moment we add shading, which we're going to talk about next, this whole thing transforms. So I promise you that. But even if you've got this shape exactly right, it's just kind of very ridiculous. Like it's kind of, it's kind of unsatisfying. But what I want you to get used to is the idea that this is exactly right. Even if your brain's going, no, 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 more detail, no, 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 I want more. It doesn't silly. It looks kind of squashy. This is exactly right. So we're still in the awkward phase of the drawing. Let me see your final shape here. It doesn't even have to be final. You'll still make corrections on it, but let's see how your kind of final outer shapes go. And by the way, this is totally awesome. Absolutely love the performance of this group. Really, really great. I'm introducing something. Looks good to me. So Sarah, I would still say, can you see how skinny this, I'm going to give you one little tiny correction, and then otherwise I think it looks pretty good. Here, hold on. So I'm still looking at this tiny, see this skinny? See how skinny that is? This shape in here? If you look at the shape of the actual flower, it's a little bit wider. So bring this up a little bit more and arch it in like that. And then I think you're in great shape. Let's see, who else? So this is a little too pointy. Just, Tiara, just bring this out a little bit. Can you see how I'm bringing my arrow? Out to there, out to about here, and then you can stop. So erase, or yeah, do what you can to erase that line. Anyway, I think your eraser's just fine for the task. Don't worry about it. You're doing it.
Can you just do that again, the mark where it needs to come out to, please?
Just up. See how it gets a little thicker? So ignore that top line and redraw it in like that. It's a little bit here. Let me do this. I can also draw it on my drawing. So yours is a little bit like this, right? So what you want to do is draw up like that and then erase that. All right. Excellent job, you guys. Are we ready to like move on to make this look better? I want to say you guys are killing it. So whatever it feels like, you're actually killing this assignment, nailing it. So notice in your head the fight that you're having with yourself as you try to figure out where to put lines, what feels right, what feels wrong. What you're learning about is relational drawing, like, right? And also how big or small things are. And it's really hard to assess. Curve lines, I think, are the hardest lines to draw because it's just so easy to make them too big. So it's just easy to exaggerate them. I do almost all of mine. So just be aware of that as you're starting to like, and then using negative space and points and blah, blah, blah. It's all very like confusing. It's not how we're used to thinking about it. But if you're, as we go in, now it gets more fun. So let's look at this drawing again. And tell me what direction the light's coming from. What direction is the light coming from on this flower? I think it's pretty obvious. So the obvious answer is the right one.
From left or right side, right?
Yeah, top left, right?
Left.
Right. Like here. Sun's coming from this direction. How do we know? How do we know that this is the direction that it's coming from?
The flower's facing it.
Not all of the flower. So which part of the flower is facing it? All right, this is where we have our visual, but we don't have the language to explain it. I'm going to give it to you now. Where the light hits an object, it's the lightest. So where the lightest part of the flower is, you see how you know it, but we don't know how to explain it. And it's very helpful to know how light works, right? To be able to explain it. We know this flower is light, and we can tell the sun's coming from this direction. So really the general rule is you can tell the direction of the light because the lightest part of the subject will be where facing the direction of the light. As the subject turns away, it gets darker. Okay, so now we're going to talk about something called value, which is the lightness or darkness of any color. So if 1 is white and 5 is super dark, 2, 3, and 4 are midtones. They get gradually. I'm doing this with a pen, which I hate doing. So can you see how this is getting gradually from 1, 2, 3, lighter to darker? So how many values are in this flower? And consider for the moment, although this looks spotty, consider this just 1. Like consider the lightest part of the flowers, these light areas, just like a 1. How many values are in this flower?
Let's say 3, maybe.
Any other guesses? 3. Any other guesses? 3 basic. We've actually got 4.
Yeah.
We've got 1. This is light. This is like a 1. This is a 2. This is the 3. And then these little dark bobbies, which we're going to add on last, are 4s. So is this. Right? So as you start to add in, but you'll see this pattern. So the thing that people, this is why everybody loves shading, because this is how you start to show that something is turning on a flat surface, right? We know that this is actually a flat surface. It's actually not turning. So how do we create the illusion? Once again, flower by flower, I'm going to go through this. Petal by petal, I'm going to go through this. And we're going to start with, once again, and I promise I'll put up a sort of non-destroyed picture once we go through this one where I have all my markings on it. So once again, you're going to see that this goes from 1 to 2 to 3. So I'm going to actually put 2 and 3 together in one group. Starts here. There's a curved line that goes to here. And then really there's just a curved line that goes to about there. That's for 2 and 3. And then I draw, and ignore these dots and lines. We'll add them last. And then I can add in. So this is 1, which I would recommend you just keep white. You could try and make it like a 2 if you wanted to, and then go 3, 4, 5, but it's kind of easier and more expedient to do this. And then this is going to be darker than this, but lighter than this. Bad job. And you can soften. I did this with a marker, so I can't get rid of this line to kind of show you. But you with your pencil can kind of soften this mark. So you can see a transition from 1 to 2 to 3. And if you also want to, you can kind of soften this pointy edge to curve down a little bit like this, if you'd like. If you want to. So once again, we're following the same principle. We're kind of grouping things within the subject by bigger shapes first, right? And then breaking down the font to smaller shapes. And that helps us make sure we keep things in the right proportions. Because it's hard to keep things in the right proportions. Super hard. All right. And when you think you got it, send it across. And then I'm just going to show you this petal, and then I'll give you the designs for these petals, and I think you guys will be able to do that. I'll demo, but I'll let you kind of roll in that on your own too. Is this in any way fun? Okay. It's okay to say no. Let's see. Beautiful. So Courtney, just bring your two here. Can I? It's beautiful. Give yourself a little bit more medium value. Here, let me pop it up and I'll just show you really quickly. But beautiful shading. Nicely done. Have you done this before? Do you have any experience in drawing? I kind of sense you have. See this? Bring this kind of up here a little bit more. But it's just, now I'm just being persnickety. It looks fine. Whose is this one? George, looks great. George, yeah, you could look at the, no, I'm going to say that's fine. That's just fine. You're doing great. Let's see. Sarah looks good. Look at how different everybody's is, and also how they're all working. So the idea of having to, Sierra, did I look at yours? Did you send yours across? Not yet.
I think it's there. It's at the top, maybe.
Oh, there it is. No, there's Sarah's. Where's yours? I must have missed it here. Hold on. Sometimes I skip over. Notice that there's, oh yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. These look great, you guys. Notice how differently we can do this, I guess, while still following the rules. So here's where it starts to get more fun. Let's look at this petal because it's a little bit overwhelming. So I'm going to break it down for you a little bit into simpler and more complex shapes. Your light kind of comes right up through the middle like this. And you can bring it actually all the way up here, or that sort of medium. There's a little light circle there for a donut. And then up here is also a key important light shape. So beneath this dark heavy 3, you're going to want to come up through the middle, come over, circle, and then just go straight up almost to the top, curve over. There we go. Look, I just made a mistake. I did it too low. You want to leave a little white space here. All this business down here is not half as important as this little white space. And the reason is that this little white space shows up in the darkest area of the flower. And what it shows is that this piece is sticking up and catching light. So capturing that gives us the illusion of three dimensions. So there is 1, 2, 3, and then you can just come along the edge here to get your, here, I'll draw it here, right? Like that. So just the edge here is super dark. And then you have two choices. You can either just color this whole thing in medium, like this, or if you want to pull in some of these other light medium shapes, right, you can do that. So you can come in here, erase that, kind of give yourself a more nuanced shape. But really the most important things are these here and these two big shapes here, like medium and dark. You'll still get a good flower. Also, if you want to add in more detail, you can also do that later in this piece. Just send it over when you think you got it. And finally, it's, wait, somebody send me a message in the chat. Oh, got it. Feel free to shout out. There's not that many of us, so ask questions. You don't have to worry about interrupting lesson flow or something. At this point, I always expect lessons to be interrupted by questions, and I want you to ask. Sometimes I think I know what everybody's going through, having done it so long, and then I'm like always taught some new aspect that I have no idea about. All right, let's see. So Sierra, this looks pretty good, but your make your darks darker. Can you see how you can't really tell the difference between the dark and the medium? And since you, oh, you know what? You could use, and also this guy comes right over to the, here, hold on. Sorry, I'm pointing at this like you can see it. Give me a second. Give me just a second. Okay, two things. These two look almost the same in value. Can you see that? There's really not that much of a, okay. That looks great, Courtney. Here, hold on. Let me go back though and finish the point I was making. So these two look almost the same in value, which means that I don't have a sense of going from light to medium to dark. In drawing, we always exaggerate the difference between light, medium, and dark. So you could take your little smudge stick and see if you can lighten using that part and then go heavier on this.
I just sent it again actually because I think I was taking the photo like within WhatsApp and I think it was kind of smoothing.
Oh, got it. Courtney, that
camera.
looks beautiful.
I'm just sending it again.
Got it. Beautiful, Courtney. Ooh, very nice. Dark and light. So, Sarah, the only thing you have to keep in mind is that you've got one more dark value. You've got a 4 that you're going to have to put in, but that looks beautiful so far. Um, yeah, better, much better, much better. Also, Sarah, Sarah, notice that this comes out to here. It actually comes out to the edge of the petal. So just bring your little donut. You can just bring your little donut out there. George, beautiful. So, George, this is where, do you see what I'm saying about your superpower? This is where it comes in. You can see those value differences very beautifully. Take a little eraser and push this light a little lighter. You're going to want that later, but beautiful. Look at how different these are. Oh my God, this just brings me so much joy. Okay, let's talk about I'm going to talk about the last petal kind of quickly. Let me stop the share here. And then I'm going to have you guys just finish this drawing. So let's see. The last one, we've got a curved line that goes like this. And then here is the shape of the medium and the dark. So I'm going to start here with a curved line that way. And then I'm coming up through the bottom. There is a little white one here on this side, but this comes all the way to the center here. And then it comes back. There's the 2. So this is the darkest. And look at how these flowers start to sing now. They're singing. Oh, I lost a little bit of my value down there. So see, Sierra, I just did the same thing I was pointing out to you. So I'm going to take my eraser. I also might try my finger a little bit in smudging, but mostly it has to do with darkening right next to it. So there you go. And I'm going to just quickly show you the last 2 petals because they're a little hard to see in the diagram. So I'm just going to put them out for you. You'll see that these 3 petals follow a similar pattern. There's like a parallel set of light, medium, and dark lines. Can you see that? That kind of run across the petal. Light, medium, dark, dark, medium, light, dark, medium, light. Until we get to these 2 petals, which are opening up to the sun. So the dark, medium, light pattern has a slightly different take here. It looks like this. So it comes in like this in the center. So in the center, it's like dark here. And then as it comes out here, it's medium. So instead of the shadowy areas are smaller, and instead of doing the parallel lines, it's going dark, medium, and then light. The last one just has a little bit of dark here, and then like 2 strips of medium that come up here. And then the last chore on this, once you get these shadings in, is you're going to go back in and add your little dots, your broken lines. You might also have to come back over and redarken these so they pop out. This dark should be a 3. And sometimes you lose your petals, so you just have to go back and darken them. I'm going to quickly, it's kind of, right. So these are kind of, as you go through, there's these cute little lines like this. So now your job is to finish this flower. And would you like me to, I have sent you a picture of this across the thread, but I can totally, is it helpful to look at this? Or is it more helpful to look at a clean version? Which is that. Though it's the copy isn't as good. So here, let me.
I think with the dirty, let's say dirty version is helpful.
What, both versions? I can do that. Here, let's have both. You can see them, but also you can look at it. So here's the one that I janked up with all the funny lines and sketches to show you different things at different times. This is the relatively unfiltered. So we have about 30 minutes left in class. So 30, yes, 30 minutes left in class. 35. So I just want you to finish this drawing. If you want to, finish your flower, add these, and at this point, you can do whatever you want. I can see that everybody's followed the directions, and I know you're gonna have good flowers. You'll want to erase these negative space lines once you don't need them anymore. Or if you don't have an eraser, I don't know, let's add things in. You can add like more little grasses. You can add some of these little branches or these stems, right? You can do this whole thing if you want to. You can add just one bud. You can just stick with the flower. I just want you to spend the next half hour like making this flower your own. And ask me any questions you want to about what we just went through. And Christina, do you need any help with any of those perspective drawings? They look okay to me. They
Yeah,
just look
I actually fixed one part that was janky, which I'm very proud of. I actually figured out how to do that with the column that I don't know if you could see that in my previous drawing, the column was not quite the right height and the angles were off, but I figured it out.
yeah, I can see that. And by the way, you guys, this class meets most of the year at this time, and it focuses on drawing. But you are welcome to do, we have a lot of returning students. So some students will do the lesson, others like Christina are just gonna sit and work with us. And if she needs help, I'll help her with what she's working on. So I also want you to know that you do not have to do this lesson. But if you want to have people to work with, which I think is a good thing in these times, right? Good to have like companionship, and I will help you in any way. I'm good at working on more than one project at the same time, so it doesn't bother me to do that. So go ahead and think about that as you're going through.
Oh,
We're
well,
gonna do.
this class helps me do my homework for my other art class. So that's good.
Then I tell you when your teacher isn't explaining it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we figure out when she's actually assigning single point perspective or dual point perspective.
Right.
One or two parts. I'll be right back, you guys. free to send stuff across. Or not, as you're working on it. Beautiful. Yes, just keep at Courtney. That looks beautiful. I would thicken a little bit your little pollen dots and darken them and the lines, and then just keep adding in the little dots everywhere. Beautiful. And then go ahead and add some other elements into the add a stem. Do whatever you want. You can do what's here on the drawing, or you can do your own thing. Wonderful. Wonderful work. Nice. Have you done this before?
No, not really. Thank you.
Nice work. All right. So, and I have one other thing I would suggest. It kind of works, but go ahead and feel free to erase. Can I just pop it up here and I'll show you really quickly? If you want to like push the contrast, to push your shaping, your feeling of 3 dimensions, you can push. See this? This should be light. Make this a 1, which means I would take your eraser and erase it out so that, because right now this is kind of blending in. This looks very clear, light, medium, dark, but you're kind of losing it here. So I would just keep that in there. Nice work. I mean, now I'm just being fiddly. Like, because I'm a problem solver and I can't help it. I look in and like, okay, how can I tweak this? This is essentially what the job of an artist is to kind of lay things out and keep looking at them and be like, oh yeah, how do I just get this a little bit over? Just like Christina said, I figured out one line was off in my drawing and then I fixed it. And what's interesting about this process is that I think it's not that you'll come out with exactly the perfect drawing, but it'll allow you to correct, right? Because things aren't so like out of whack and misaligned. So everything's generally in the right places, which means you can tweak. So people in this exercise kind of reshape their petals once they start adding in their shading, because you can see it better, right? The actual shape of the petal. You can see, oh, this light has this shape, this medium and this dark. But things are generally in the right shapes. There's also some flexibility with natural subjects. They don't have to be as rigid as other objects.
Leah?
Yeah.
I have some doubts about what are the shades in the left petal. But the last one, I think it's the last one you.
This one? It's
said,
just,
Tim.
I'll just tell you, it's just dark here. I'll sketch it right in. And then medium here. That's all. So it's dark towards the center, but not as dark as your staining. It's got 3 dark. That's real. Yeah, it's very hard to see. So really the rule here is that as things turn away from as you turn away from the light, as there's a plane change, right? As there's a plane change, the light changes, and that's how you can feel. And that's why shading is so important on a flat surface. because we are exaggerating. That's all, that's really the only trick we have. Shape, getting the shape correct, which changes when you're going from 3 dimensions to 2. There's a translation that has to happen. But also noting that like as the flower, so as the flower, when the light's coming straight down on the flower from the left, as the flower turns towards the center, it's going to get darker because it's turning away, right? As those petals come together, they're going to be turning away from the light. If you start looking at flowers, you'll start to see that shadow pattern, particularly the ones that have, you know, these kind of like 3 or 4 or 5 petals, and you can kind of see the center. You'll see as they shift, there's this subtle little, gets darker. You take a look, sorry. Notice there's a kind of way I think our left brain, which isn't very good for drawing, would approach a project like this. And it's like this. I'm gonna show you very quickly. This paper. Here we go. Blank paper. Right? Our left brain would go, actually, if we just do it on so you can see it. Our left brain would wants to do this. And then like this. Do you see what I mean? We want to do this. And that's not what's actually happening in the drawing. Number one, these are just in a perfectly, I like to call these little soldiers in a row. So we have this concept of what these stamen do, as opposed to looking at this particular flower in this particular shape. And then we want to fill in the lines, and we kind of want to make the petals come all the way to the center and make them even, which they are not. So there's this tendency to want to, or the other tendency is to kind of start in the middle and move, get a lot of detail and then move outward. The problem with both of these is that they don't really take into account how much space everything takes up on the page. So the hardest thing, and the thing that's the hardest thing for us to do as we're going back to the drawing board, as it says, is to kind of learn how to do that. And just like any other honorable profession, vocation, or avocation, it's tough. Learning, we don't remember how we learned to speak, but it took years. We don't really remember how we learned to read or write, but it was not a simple process. It took time. I have a granddaughter who is 3 now, and you know, she's still just beginning to like actual use real words. She's been communicating for a while, But she started, the first year or two by like very expressively letting us know what she wanted. Blah, 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 blah. Since I didn't have kids, like I'm experiencing, this is my boyfriend's, my fiance's daughter, granddaughter, so mine as well. So she's like, blah, 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 blah. No. Blah, 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 blah. It was amazing to me how, and that she repeats everything like 2 million times. She's a very physical kid, so she'll do the same circuit of climbing up and down something on the playground or in her parents' living room, right? And I watch her kind of adjust herself each time, leg a little bit this way. She does the same thing with total joy, repetition. And after 3 years, she's definitely talking, but it did not happen instantly, right? It happened in these layered phases. So drawing is like that, learning the logic and then letting that logic, and then because you're learning the logic, you're using all your entire brain. Your entire brain is processing this because it's not familiar. So you have to kind of learn it and memorize it and learn how it works. And by the way, apparently that is how to like stave off dementia, keep your brain sharp, blah, 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 learning to draw, learning something new like this, where it requires just enough concentration to be slightly painful, but not too painful. It's a little like exercise, but instead of for your muscles, for your right brain. And there's a lot of value to doing it.
Leah, I'm afraid I have to drop off a few minutes early.
Show us where you got to.
I'll put it in the chat.
Here, I'm going to add a spotlight. Just hold it up. Hold it up. It's easier that way. Looks.
Oh,
It's
nice.
gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I know you've had a struggle with the whole like not having an eraser thing, and I want you to really credit what you did with that. You still did the assignment, and it's beautiful. And by the way,
I'll make sure I have a good eraser next week.
Yeah. Let's see. Hey, Courtney, can I pop you up for a second and have you hold it up? I want to. All right. Thanks, CR. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Gorgeous. By the way, really nice push on that dark light contrast. I really like that. Do you see the more you do it? I'm looking at the rose behind you, by the way, on your roof on your wall, and you'll see the same thing is happening there, right? Those subtle light mediums and darks. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
How does it feel? How do you feel about it?
Good.
Good. Excellent. I'll see you next week. Keep working. We have a little bit more time. I just wanted to see. George, do you want to pop yours up? Sarah, do you want to pop yours up? Just to show us where it is? You know what? I'm going to remove the spotlight. I want to just see. Everybody hold. Okay, so Sarah, let me pop you up for a second. George is like, I'm finishing. Beautiful. Are you pleased? Are you pleased with yourself? Are you pleased with? Very pleased.
It's like
beautiful.
zooming weird. Or is that?
It is zooming. It does that thing sometimes when you have a blur.
Oh, let me turn off
I
the
see
blur.
George rushing through it. You can just hold it up now, George. We keep working on it. Hold it up. In fact, I want you all to hold up your drawings. I'm going to pop up George's. Oh, it's beautiful, honey. And shape is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So all that struggle. So hold them all up so we can just see them. Here, I'll hold up mine too. Courtney, put yours up. I want to see them all. Let's see them all together. Aren't they nice? Didn't we do good? We did a good job. So this is the beginning. Next week, we're going to talk more about shading and practice shading some basic shapes. So, and don't worry if you don't If you miss a class, everything's recorded and delivered on this thread. So you can pick up any video. This will be up in about 20 minutes. Nice work, everybody.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you. We'll see you later, everybody. See ya. Ciao.
Bye.